Hey y'all, this is Lydia. I am going to pull some cards from the Wild Unknown Alchemy deck. The Wild Unknown Tarot. And at the bottom, we have the Seven of Swords. What are we hiding from ourselves? And actually, what I'm getting off this, and this is true in the astrology as well, is are you protecting this new story you want to embody, if that's you? Or are you protecting who you want to be, who you feel yourself becoming, if you feel like you're in this transition phase? We're being called to really embody it and to embody that story that we want to live. And that's a form of protection on one hand. And on the other hand, it's also not consuming things or allowing your thoughts to get too rampant of I can't, or things that take you out of the magic. I noticed that in my spiritual practice sometimes, if like I watch television or I get too caught up in the mundane, I get pulled out of my magic a little bit. And this isn't like, being grounded and being in life and taking action. This is more of exposing myself to things that really pull me out of that magical energy. It's not, being in the spiritual all the time. I would lose my mind. But we're being called to do that. We're being called to protect. We're being called to embody. And with Jupiter in particular retrograde at 0 degrees of Aries, I'm getting strongly to also play around with it a little bit. Like, what if you were to embody who you wanted to be or who you feel yourself becoming? What if you were to play a little game with yourself and commit to being that for like a week or two, or maybe a month or two, and to really put that as your top priority of like, okay, I want to be an artist. Perhaps you're not a professional artist, you just do art on the side, but you want to be an artist and that's something you're working toward. What would happen if you embodied the artist and really started to live your life in a way that you see yourself living when you get to that place, and start implementing some of those things in your mind's eye and your visions of what that looks like, and start living it now and start playing around with it now. The Temperance card came out, which is alchemy, which is working with the energies and morphing them and merging them and playing with them in order to manifest, in order to bring things in. And also patience. And I think one great tool for practicing patience is being in our playfulness and not getting too caught up in making things serious, but really having fun with this process of embodying and fun with this process of challenging ourselves to be who we are becoming in a sort of playful, innovative, creative way. And to not get so caught up in, right, wrong, or, well, I need this in order for it to be legit. That's another thing. Illegitimizing it because you're in this playfulness, but rather just letting it be light and open, and not be so caught up in, faking it, or getting caught up in, well, I'm not really this, I'm just pretending to be this. No, we can also embody. We can also really bring that in. It's almost like playing a role, but playing a role not in the sense of, trying to fool ourselves, but playing the role in the sense of having fun and really seeing what happens and being experimental and being in that energy. And we have the Daughter of Swords at the bottom here now. And I'm getting off this too, of not being too fixed in our thoughts, not being too fixed in our perspectives and how we see things, but allow ourselves to be guided a little bit. There are these lights around her, almost like little guides whispering in her ear, and allowing herself to be guided, and not being so caught up in necessarily seeing the exact way or the right way or the best way to go about something, but again, to allow herself to be guided. But there's also this sword she's sitting on, a sense of direction, of knowing which direction you want to go, and playfully going in that direction and seeing what happens. And that's that page energy of being playful and being also accepting of where we're at in any given moment, and not trying to be an expert, but to be in that learning sort of phase where we're not so, in our head of not knowing enough that we don't get started, but we're also not so hubristic that we think we know everything and we know how something's going to play out and we know how something's going to go. We really don't, especially in this new world that we're living in now. The world flipped in 2020 and it's not flipping back. So, you might as well get in where you fit in, and ride the wave and see what you can create, and to be in that beautiful light sun energy. I guess I'm just playing with the bottom of the deck now, but being in that beautiful light sun play energy, and being in that higher state of consciousness where we're not so fixed, but we're open to seeing things newly, and we're open to seeing ourselves in a new light. And also not getting too caught up in density and darkness either, which goes back to dabbling in things that pulls us out of our magic. We're still in the energy of unblocking, healing things that perhaps are old hurts or pains, or wrapping up past cycles. We're still in that energy, but we're being called to not, fixate on that or identify with that, but allow those processes to happen, and allow those processes to happen naturally by going into the energies we want to go into, and allowing the healing to take place in its own time, in its own way, and not necessarily get so fixed in, I have to heal, I have to do this thing in order to be ready. And it's like, no, have fun, play, see what happens when you play a little experiment, or do a little experiment of what would it be like if I embodied this thing that I'm seeing, or embodied this change I want to see in myself, and give it a little deadline, but also be open to its continuing, indefinitely until it runs its course. So I'm going to pull one more, the Six of Cups, gifts from the universe. And also, there's this thing I did with Shaman Dirk's 30 Day Strong. It's actually the first day of his 30 Day Strong program, and it's free on YouTube. And on the first day, he talks about focusing on a beautiful memory, and being in that and focusing our mind on that, and then downloading that energy into our bodies and expanding that energy. Because this is a past card, it deals with past memory, but there's very vibrant life on this. There's this tree drawing up energy from the earth, from, the fertile soil, and bringing it into a fruitful existence. There's this energy of us also being perhaps even shamanic in that way, of using the tools available to us. And that's a tool that came into my life recently, is going into beautiful memories and commanding that my mind to expand that energy in my body, which is very effective. And it also helps release my mind going into places that don't serve me. So pay attention to tools and gifts from the universe coming in now to help you, expand into something more than what you are now, and perhaps not even just more than what you are now, but who you truly are deep down, when you strip away the labels, when you strip away the self-placed limitations, and you strip away the hurts and the pains and things we define ourselves by, and allow the energies to work for us, as opposed to fixating on, this is who I am, or even fixating too much on who I want to be, but being open to being shown the gifts and the miracles and the beautiful things we can be, and to be open to it all, and to be really in that multidimensional energy as well. So I'm sending love and wishing you well.